Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World. Today we're going to reveal exactly what makes the 1971 Lincoln penny so special and how it could potentially make you a small fortune. Now, let's go back to 1971, a time when the world was changing rapidly. In the United States, the Lincoln penny was part of everyday life, but it was also the beginning of an era of change for U.S. currency. The 1971 Lincoln penny marked a crucial point in the history of American coinage, as it was one of the last pennies minted from the traditional copper material before the U.S. Mint shifted to the copper-plated zinc composition. This historical moment alone gives the 1971 penny a bit of significance, but what really sets it apart from all the other coins produced that year are the rarities and minting errors that some of these pennies carry. The world of numismatics, or coin collecting, is fascinating because collectors aren't just looking for rare coins, they're looking for coins with distinctive features, including errors that make them unique. And that's where the 1971 Lincoln penny shines. Let's break down some of the most valuable and rare characteristics of this particular penny. First, we have the double die error. This is one of the most sought-after errors in coin collecting, and the 1971 penny happens to be a prime candidate for this kind of mistake. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin doesn't align properly, causing the design elements, like the date or the words on the coin, to be doubled. This creates a distinctive look, especially around the date, the wording like "Liberty," and the famous "In God We Trust" motto. If you come across a 1971 penny that exhibits this error, it could be worth a lot more than you think. These double die pennies are rare and highly collectible, with their value skyrocketing among serious collectors. Another minting error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is improperly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be shifted to one side of the coin. These coins have a distinctive appearance with part of the design either missing or misaligned, making them stand out from the rest of the pennies produced that year. If you have a 1971 Lincoln penny with this error, especially in great condition, it can attract attention from collectors looking for unique and unusual coins, but it's not just about errors. The condition of the coin is another crucial factor in determining its value. A 1971 penny in uncirculated, mint state condition, meaning it has sharp details and no signs of wear, can command a significant price. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin becomes. Coins that have been well preserved over the years, free from scratches, dents, or any other kind of damage, are much more appealing to collectors. A penny in top condition is much rarer than one that's been tossed around in circulation, so if you find a 1971 penny that looks brand new, you might be sitting on something special. So, just how much can a 1971 Lincoln penny be worth? Well, if you have a penny with a double die error or an off-center strike, and it's in excellent condition, you could be looking at a highly valuable coin. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for these rare coins, and some have been known to fetch as much as $43,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $43,000 for a penny. It's hard to believe that a single penny could be worth that much, but in the world of rare coins, it happens. To put it into perspective, think about all the pennies you've passed over or tossed aside throughout your life. Most people wouldn't think twice about a 1971 penny, but if you know what to look for, that small coin could be worth more than an entire year's worth of rent or a luxury vacation. Coin collectors know this, and they're always hunting for these rare pennies, searching through change and collections to find the ones with valuable errors or in exceptional condition. If you're a collector or just someone who enjoys looking through old coins, keep your eyes peeled for the 1971 Lincoln penny. Check for the double die error or an off-center strike, and make sure the penny is in great shape. You might just have a fortune sitting in your collection without even knowing it, so, next time you're going through your coins, take an extra moment to examine that 1971 penny. It could be the one that changes everything. Today we're diving into a coin that might be sitting in your collection right now and could be worth a small fortune, the 1973 Lincoln penny. Yes, that unassuming little penny could be worth up to $40,000. Now, I know you're probably thinking, how is that possible? Well, stick with me as we uncover the fascinating world of this rare coin and what makes it so valuable. The 1973 Lincoln penny is part of the famous Lincoln Memorial series, which has been around for many years. Most of these pennies were minted as part of regular production, circulating in the everyday transactions of the time. But hidden among these coins are certain rarities and errors that make some of them highly collectible, and in the case of the 1973 penny, it could be worth far more than you think. One of the key factors that makes the 1973 Lincoln penny so interesting to collectors is its unique characteristics and potential minting errors. You see, while most people just think of it as a regular penny, it's not just the year of the coin that matters, it's the specific errors that occurred during the minting process that make some 1973 pennies incredibly valuable. These errors can significantly affect the coin's rarity and market value. Let's talk about the most notable error in the 1973 Lincoln penny. One of the most sought-after variations is the double die error. This occurs when the design on the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, resulting in a doubled image. On a 1973 penny, you might notice this doubling effect around the date or the words, "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." This doubling effect is subtle but can be incredibly valuable. If you happen to find a 1973 Lincoln penny with this error, it's highly sought after by collectors and could fetch a premium price in the marketplace. Another reason the 1973 Lincoln penny could be worth so much is its condition. Coins that have been well preserved in mint state condition are far rarer than coins that have been in circulation for decades. If the coin has been kept in pristine condition, without any significant wear or damage, it will appeal to serious collectors who are always on the lookout for high-quality specimens. So if you come across a 1973 penny that looks almost brand new, you might want to take a second look, but it's not just about the errors or the condition, it's also about the rarity of the coin. While the 1973 penny was produced in huge numbers, the ones with the minting errors or in exceptional condition are much harder to come by. Most pennies from that year were circulated heavily, and the majority of them show signs of wear. Coins in near-perfect condition are incredibly rare, and that rarity is what drives up the value of the 1973 Lincoln penny. The next time you're digging through a jar of coins or browsing through your collection, make sure to take a careful look at your 1973 pennies. Look for the double die errors, and be sure to check the condition of the coin. If you find one with the right characteristics, you could be holding a rare treasure worth much more than its face value. Remember, even small details like a misaligned die or a slightly off-center strike can turn a simple penny into a valuable asset. Now, the big question: how much is this 1973 Lincoln penny worth? If you have a double die error penny in excellent condition, or even one with some other rare features, you could be looking at a value of $40,000. Yes, you heard that right, $40,000. For a penny. It's hard to believe that a coin worth just 1 cent can be worth so much, but in the world of coin collecting, anything is possible. For coin enthusiasts and collectors, this is the type of discovery that can make your entire collection worth more than you ever imagined. The 1973 Lincoln penny is a prime example of how a little bit of luck, knowledge, and keen observation can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out, always keep an eye out for the coins that seem a little different, a little unique, or a little special. So, the next time you're sorting through your coins, don't overlook the 1973 Lincoln penny. It could be the hidden treasure you've been waiting for, a coin that could potentially be worth $40,000. Who knew that something as small and humble as a penny could hold so much value? Today, we're diving into the mysterious and valuable world of the 1974 Lincoln penny, a coin that's been part of everyday life for decades, yet holds a secret that only sharp-eyed collectors and lucky finders truly understand. At first glance, the 1974 penny may not look like much. It has the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the classic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what if I told you that some of these pennies have sold for tens of thousands of dollars? And the reason is not just about age, it's about rarity, minting errors, and a little-known experimental twist that could make your 1974 penny worth a fortune. Let's rewind to the early 1970s. The United States was in the middle of economic uncertainty, and the rising cost of copper was becoming a serious issue for the U.S. Mint. Producing pennies using nearly pure copper was becoming too expensive. So in 1974, the U.S. Mint began experimenting with alternative materials, including aluminum. That's right, Aluminum pennies were struck in limited numbers as part of a test to find a cheaper alternative to copper. These 1974 aluminum pennies were never officially released to the public, but a few slipped out, and they are now ultra-rare, with only a tiny handful known to exist. If one ever surfaces in the private market, it becomes a holy grail for collectors. One of these experimental aluminum cents was even the center of a legal battle between a private owner and the U.S. government. That's how rare and important it is. Now, while most people won't stumble upon one of these elusive aluminum coins, even the regular copper 1974 pennies have a hidden value, especially when you find one with a mint error or in superb condition. Let's talk about minting errors. These are what make a coin go from ordinary to extraordinary. On 1974 Lincoln pennies, one of the most sought-after errors is the double die. This is where the coin is struck twice by the die, creating a subtle but noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or numbers. If you examine your 1974 penny and see doubling on "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the date itself, you might be holding a double die error, and that's a very big deal. There are also off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't aligned properly during minting, resulting in part of the design being cut off or shifted. And let's not forget die cracks, blockage errors, or even the rare wrong planchet strikes, where the penny was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Any of these unique errors can dramatically increase the value of your coin, and here's where condition matters. A 1974 penny that has been handled carefully, kept safe from wear, and preserved in its original mint state, meaning no scratches, discoloration, or circulation damage, can fetch far more than one that's been through countless cash registers and change jars. The better the condition, the more a collector will be willing to pay. A mint state error coin is where the real treasure lies. Collectors love the 1974 penny because it represents a pivotal moment in U.S. coin history. It's not just about the design, it's about the story. It's about an era of economic change, experimentation, and the search for solutions that could shape the future of American currency. Holding one of these pennies is like holding a piece of that history, and for collectors, that makes it incredibly desirable. So the next time you see a 1974 penny in your change, don't ignore it. Flip it over, check for any unusual marks, doubling, off-center strikes, or signs that it might just be something special. Because hidden among the billions of ordinary coins, there are a few rare pieces waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much could a 1974 Lincoln penny be worth? Well, if you've got the right combination, a rare mint error, excellent preservation, or even better, an experimental aluminum strike, your coin could be worth as much as $39,000. That's right. A single penny, just 1 cent, potentially worth $39,000. Incredible, right? Today, we're going to uncover the surprising story of the 1975 Lincoln penny, a coin that millions of people have seen, spent, and ignored, yet some versions of it are now considered collector gold. So before you toss your pennies into a jar or spend them without a second glance, watch this video till the end, because the penny you least expect could be worth a small fortune. The 1975 Lincoln penny might seem just like every other coin from the era. You've got the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, and on the reverse, the iconic Lincoln Memorial. It's one of the most recognized designs in U.S. coinage. But hidden among these everyday coins are rare errors and variations that make some of them extremely valuable, and we're about to dive deep into what makes these particular coins so desirable to collectors around the world. Let's start with a bit of history. By the mid-1970s, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from using almost pure copper in pennies to a more cost-effective copper-plated zinc composition, which happened officially in 1982. But even in 1975, copper was still being used, though rising costs had the mint keeping a close eye on future materials. The 1975 penny marks the tail end of an era before significant changes swept across American coinage, and that already gives it a special place in history. But the real magic lies in the minting errors and unique variations. First on our list is one of the most popular and valuable errors in the world of coin collecting, the double die. Imagine the minting press striking the coin not once, but twice, slightly misaligned the second time. This creates a distinct doubling effect on the coin's design elements, and in the case of the 1975 penny, it's often visible on the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." The doubling is not just a small blur, it's a clear, visible distortion that any collector would recognize in a heartbeat. If your 1975 penny has a clear double die error, congratulations, you may already be holding a rare gem. Then there's the off-center strike error. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be struck off the coin's surface. The result? A wildly interesting and eye-catching coin where Lincoln might look like he's sliding off the edge. Some of these coins show as much as 50% off-center, making them extremely desirable to collectors looking for unique visual pieces. Another variation that adds serious value is when a penny is struck on the wrong planchet. That means it was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. These planchet errors are rare, but when they happen, they instantly turn a common penny into a collectible that can sell for thousands. Some of these 1975 pennies even appear smaller, thinner, or with different coloring, so always inspect your coin carefully. Let's not forget about die cracks, cuds, and bubbled surfaces, all signs of minting flaws that occurred during the high-speed production process. While minor errors are common, large or visually striking flaws are much rarer and can significantly boost a coin's value, but errors alone aren't enough. For serious value, condition matters just as much. Collectors go wild for coins in mint state. That means the coin looks brand new, with no scratches, discoloration, or wear. A 1975 penny that's been kept in pristine condition for nearly 50 years is already rare, and if it also happens to have a known mint error, you've just hit the jackpot. Now, here's something even more exciting. Some 1975 pennies were minted in San Francisco for proof sets. These have the small S mint mark beneath the date and are struck with sharper details and mirror-like finishes. If you find one that was mistakenly released into circulation, it's not just a proof, it's a prized discovery. Collectors love coins like the 1975 penny not just for their rarity, but for the stories they tell. Every scratch, every shimmer, every unusual line, it's all part of the coin's journey through time. And knowing that something so small could be hiding such significant value makes every penny worth a second look. So, how much can a 1975 Lincoln penny actually be worth? If you have one in mint condition, especially with a double die error, off-center strike, or wrong planchet, the value jumps dramatically. Collectors and dealers alike have paid enormous sums for the right coin, and some have fetched as much as $37,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, just 1 cent, with the right features and in the right condition, could be worth $37,000. So, before you ignore those old pennies in your change jar or overlook the ones hiding in that dusty drawer, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of history that's more valuable than gold. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1976 1-cent coin, a piece of American history that, in rare cases, could be worth far more than its face value. So coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history lovers, get ready, because this penny might just surprise you. Let's rewind for a moment to the year 1976. It was America's bicentennial, a time of celebration, patriotism, and pride in the nation's journey over 200 years. While most of the attention that year was focused on quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins bearing special bicentennial designs, the humble Lincoln penny retained its traditional look, Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But even without a commemorative design, the 1976 penny has its own hidden stories and mysteries that have caught the attention of collectors everywhere. The thing that makes coins like this truly exciting isn't always obvious at first glance. In fact, the magic lies in the details, minting errors, rare variations, and pristine conditions that transform a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. Let's talk about double die errors. This is one of the most desirable types of minting mistakes, and it happens when the coin's design is impressed twice onto the die slightly out of alignment. The result is a coin where the text appears doubled, most commonly on the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date 1976 itself. These double die errors are easily missed by the untrained eye but can mean the difference between a regular penny and a rare treasure. Another type of error that adds serious value is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during the minting process. The finished coin might show Lincoln's face shifted dramatically to one side, or parts of the wording cut off entirely. These errors are not only rare, they also make the coin visually unique, which is something collectors absolutely love. Let's not forget the striking on the wrong planchet error. Occasionally, a penny is struck on a blank intended for a dime, a foreign coin, or another denomination altogether. This results in a coin that's lighter, thinner, or differently colored than normal. These wrong planchet strikes are among the rarest and most valuable types of error coins in existence, and of course, we have the condition factor. A coin in near-perfect, mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and retains its original luster, is much more valuable than one that has been circulating in pockets and wallets for decades. So, if you happen to have a 1976 penny that looks brand new, it's already special. Combine that with a rare error, and you could be holding a jackpot. Now here's something a lot of people don't realize: proof coins from 1976 also exist, minted in San Francisco with an S mark. These coins were made with extra care, showing sharper details and mirror-like finishes. Some of these proof coins, if found in circulation or kept in pristine condition, are highly collectible and can command excellent prices, especially if they include any form of mint error. So why is the 1976 Lincoln penny so interesting to collectors? Well, it represents more than just 1 cent. It's a symbol of a historic year, a piece of a story that stretches back over 2 centuries of American history. It's a coin that was quietly minted while the rest of the country celebrated a major milestone, and in that quietness, some truly rare versions were born. Collectors are always on the hunt for these hidden gems. They search through rolls of coins, scan every detail with magnifying glasses, and dream of finding that one special coin that could change everything. And the 1976 penny is one of those coins. It reminds us that treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold bars or pirate chests. Sometimes, it's the smallest coin, hiding in plain sight, that holds the most value. So here's the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can a 1976 Lincoln penny be worth? If you're lucky enough to own one in mint state condition, and it features one of the key mint errors like a double die, off-center strike, or wrong planchet, its value could climb to an astonishing $34,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that most people overlook every single day could be worth $34,000. Just imagine what you could do with that. So the next time you come across a 1976 penny, don't be so quick to toss it aside. Inspect it. Study it. And who knows? You might just be holding one of the most valuable coins of the decade. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you never miss another exciting coin discovery. Keep collecting, keep searching, and remember, the next big find could be in the palm of your hand. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting.